Gentlemen, you are watching the Potsy and Tino show.
It's the Potsy and Tino show. Talk the facts and let opinions blow. Laughs, hot takes, and maybe a rant. Two best buds with a mic and a plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Tino Gray. You started doing it. The badass Rob Potsy Potcheck. That's right, the Potsy and Tino show. Coming at you live for the 422nd time tonight, Tino.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 10 years of YouTube videos. You know, like
It's been that long.
yeah. Maybe it's accurate that even includes our old podcast. I don't know, but anyways, we're going with the number. Our theme song is that awesome track that you guys just heard, but we do always like to give Adam's House Cat a shout out on the show. You can still buy their song, The Wrestling Song, for 99 Jones on iTunes. But Tino, we always start the show up with a little segment called "What's Up with You."
Not a whole lot. Just enjoying my 3-day weekend. We did our show past Friday night at Woody's in Morrisville and had a little technical difficulties. I'm pissed off about. So we have our speakers, and like a couple of months ago when we did, we noticed that we were sitting around on a set break. We're like, what's that smell? Smell like electrical burning. And even the guy came from behind the bar. Is like, what is that? And we went up there. So it was one of the speakers. So we just turned it off, and then it was good the rest of the show. So we hadn't used it since, right? Because Wab and I've done an acoustic show before, so we just used my smaller speakers because it was better for the room we were in. And so Friday, we're setting up, doing sound check. What's up, Michael Turner? Doing a sound check, and we notice, hey, only one speaker's working. So we were doing troubleshooting, and we realized that only the highs on the speaker, the whole bottom end of the speaker, wasn't nothing coming out that bottom. So we had to run the show on one speaker, which is pretty cool. We just turned it the way we turned it. We were able to have still do the show. And then we did the show. How my in-ear worked out. You there, Rob? Hello? You're frozen. Michael Turner, can you still hear me? I think I just lost Rob. Michael Turner? Oh, you still hear me? I don't know what happened to Rob. So anyway, like I was saying, so the speaker was out. That sucked. I still have my in-ear. We were still able to do the show with one speaker. Nobody really noticed. So we had a great time. Saturday, what did we do Saturday? What did I do Saturday? Oh, hung out with my best friend. He's got a new apartment, so we went furniture shopping and all that cool stuff that you do when you get a new apartment. We went to one. We only ended up going to one place. Went to Rooms to Go. He ended up finding everything that he needed. Had a very helpful dude. Name's Johnny. So Johnny took good care of us. And the furniture he got, I'm really, really jealous. He got Rob lost power. So he got a sofa and a sectional. The cool thing about it is, so they're recline. They're both ends recline. And it's called zero gravity. I don't know if you ever. Yes, you do. So these couches are zero gravity, which means when you recline, these things go all the way back. And when I tell you to go all the way back, I was literally laid out flat, like I was laying in a bed. I'm like, that could be dangerous for me. That just give me a blanket to sleep right there. But also, you pull down the center console, and in the center console, it had cup holders. But you can push a button, and the cup holder thing comes up, and then when it comes up, you can actually charge your phone on this thing, and that's awesome. So that's the same thing on the couch and the love seat, and it has Bluetooth, and it has speakers in the chair, so you can play music and it'll come through the chairs. And the guy said you can do Bluetooth to the TV and have surround sound in the actual sofa and the love seat that he got going with it. So it's pretty cool.
So
I was
whose
telling
is
him,
that? Is that yours?
no, when me and Paul, he got his apartment, we went to rooms ago, went shopping, and that I was telling him this sofa we got, it's like the reclined, it's a sofa, and then the love seat's the same thing, matching love seat. It reclines on both ends. It has what you call zero gravity, so it like you're laying flat if you let it go all the way back, and it has lumbar in the back. And I was telling them, you pull the thing down, it has this cup holders where you hit the button, the cup holder thing comes up, and you can put your phone on it, and it charges your phone. It also has ports you can plug in your phone, and you came in and had the Bluetooth in it and everything. So it's real cool. That's what I did Saturday. We went furniture shopping for his apartment. Yesterday was Sunday. I pretty much chilled around the house and watched the pay-per-view, and then me and Nicole and Matthew went out to eat. We went to where did we go? We went and can't think of the name of the place now, but it was in Holly Springs. My Way. We went to My Way Tavern, and then we ate food there, and then got up today. Pretty much chilled all day. I cleaned off the Blackstone that he gave me. I had to clean it, and so steam it, scrape it, do all that stuff, get it ready, seasoned, and then I went to. So I was telling you about the speaker blew. So now I used the little speakers, and I went and got a compact subwoofer. So we can still use the big speakers the little speakers for the band, but I had to get a subwoofer to carry the lows coming from the bass. And so that's about it. And then came home, and right before Nicole came home, tried to cook. Dinner was late. Sausage and peppers, which is one of my favorites Nicole makes, and I'm here. Watch the pay-per-view yesterday. Watch Raw today to get ready for this.
Yeah, so we'll actually be talking about Raw from today for everyone. But I'm glad you had enough story to deal with whatever's going on in my neighborhood, because right now I'm on my mobile hotspot because my power flickered like 6 times, and all of a sudden it's telling me that I have no internet access. So I don't know why the power flickered. It's not like there's a thunderstorm or anything outside. So someone's just
might get a transformer. I hate when they do that.
Someone fucking hit something again. So yeah.
Well, you still got power, so it must be something going on with something Spectrum.
Well, you know how it normally is, like you have to wait for all that stuff to reboot. So it was probably in the process of rebooting because the power just flickered a couple times, but it kept telling me my router was still on. It just didn't have any internet. So obviously the modem hadn't come fully back on yet. Anyways, so this weekend I've got coming up. I've got a Friends of the Brothers Boyd convention. It's a comic book convention for a couple of YouTuber buddies of mine that they do it. This is now the second time they've done it. It'll be in Havelock, so I'm going up there Friday night, stay until Sunday morning, so I can.
I did that last year.
Yeah, and then next week I actually am supposed to have another convention. I think it's in Zebulon. I can never remember where that one is, but that one is Epic Mighty Con. So I'm doing both of those. And obviously, when it comes to conventions and everything, I've got the Baltimore Comic-Con coming up in October, and I've got NC Comic-Con, which is normally like 6 minutes from my house. I think it's first weekend of November. Not officially on the list for that one yet, but I talked to the owner of the convention, so I should be listed as a guest here shortly. So I'm pretty excited about all those conventions coming up. Other than that, like you said, yesterday spent pretty much the entire day watching the pay-per-view, BLE, whatever you want to call it. I then watched Notre Dame get beat by Miami, which was a massive disappointment to me. It's one of those things where you're starting a freshman quarterback against a senior quarterback, even though the senior hadn't played on that team before, and the whole transfer portal thing in college football now. Our freshman looked like a freshman for the first 3 quarters, and then he scored 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to tie the game up. And with 4 minutes to go in the game, they couldn't stop Miami from going down and scoring another field goal. So got to watch that. What's really, this weekend, Tino, I don't know how much of a college football fan you are. Obviously, tonight, your Carolina Tar Heels, or as they're liking to call them, Chapel Bill. Now Chapel Bill is playing TCU. They're dogs in the game. I think they're 3-point dogs, but it's Bill Belichick coming to the college level to see what he can do with that team. But this weekend was Lee Corso's final game day on ESPN, and it became such a big deal. And how he picked all those teams, by putting putting the mascot heads on and stuff like that Fox simulcast his pick at the same time that ESPN was showing it. So they were actually like, hey, celebrating Lee Corso. All of his picks this week, he went 5 for 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he went against Notre Dame. So that's what gave him his 5 for 5. But he picked Florida State to beat Alabama, and Florida State beat Alabama. He picked Ohio State to beat Texas, so number 3 beat number 1. And then he picked 2 other games, and it was like I was shocked that he picked Miami because after he went 4 for 4 on Saturday, I was like, son of a bitch, we're gonna lose this game because Lee Corso picked against us. And obviously, big time wrestling fan Pat McAfee last year didn't pick, I don't think he picked Notre Dame at all the entire season. And game 1 this year, he picks Notre Dame and they lose. So fuck you, Pat McAfee.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't want to upset Pat McAfee. He'll have us thrown off of every type of broadcast. But college football is back, man. And what was crazy was all 3 of the lower seeded teams in those 3 games that were top 10 opponents.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them, the seed that was worse won the game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these rankings turn out this week, because number 6 Notre Dame lost, number 1 Texas lost, and number 8 Alabama lost. And Alabama lost to a non-ranked team. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, exactly. Well, it was Florida State. So like last year, Florida State went 2-10, but the year before that, they went 13-1. So in fact, I've never seen a team switch that badly. But anyways, so today, Tino, I saw this report, and I'm going to try to put it up on our screen if I can. No, I'm not going to be able to, I don't think. So I saw this report on something called Cosmic Book News, which is a website that normally talks about comic books, TV shows, movies, things like that. And it said that they're currently working on a Knight Rider movie that will also be part of a shared universe with, are you ready for this? The $6 billion Man and Airwolf.
So they're going to reboot these shows?
Well, so they're going to be doing a Knight Rider movie.
Was it $6 billion? I thought it was a $6 million Man.
Well, you can't get much for $6 million anymore.
I mean, I used to love that show. I grew up on that show. That's one of my favorite shows. I just know when they do reboots, Like I haven't watched it yet. I can't bring myself to watch it, but I think I'm going to have to. They rebooted The Fall Guy, and I know you watched it.
Dude, that movie's amazing.
I'm used to
but it's not
fevers. I'm used to that from the 80s.
Dude,
I'm worried.
It's a good fucking movie.
I'm just worried it's not going to live up to what I remember. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing. It's the premise of what the Fall Guy TV show was, which is a stuntman that has to solve crimes, right? But it's done in a very updated way that is not like the TV show,
right?
But it's a hell of a lot of fun.
I'll watch it. It's just I watch all the the trailers and everything. I'm like, it just doesn't look like what I remember, and I'm like,
Well, the fact is it's not. It really isn't. So it was the entire movie because it was made by the same guy that directed Deadpool and co-directed like the Deadpool 2 and the first John Wick movie, David Leitch. And he made the movie with the intention of getting stuntmen their due. And it worked because and you know what, we might as well just put up the weekly watching for this. It really did that because it really is about the stuntman and how he gets no credit for anything, and we were talking about it just a couple weeks ago on this show that stuntmen starting in 2028 are actually going to get an award at the Oscars. Now, granted, it might not be one that they actually show on the broadcast or anything, but it's going to be one that, where they run through all of the extra awards. But now, and knowing that special effects have gotten awards since 1928, hearing that stuntmen have never gotten the award is pretty wild.
Yeah. Does it have the truck at least?
What's that? It has a truck.
Okay. I'll watch it.
I actually think that you'll really enjoy the movie, but don't go into it thinking that it's a Lee Majors remake.
Okay.
But I truly enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. So it's fun, and it's funny and actiony, which is what I really like.
Okay.
It's by and like I said, it's by the guy that directed Bullet Train. So if you like Bullet Train, you should enjoy it.
Bullet Train. I did love Bullet Train. That was a good one.
Yeah. Now, see, all of those movies, like Bullet Train, this Fall Guy, all these types of movies could actually be in the same universe as well if they really wanted them to.
Okay.
But anyways, what are you watching?
I haven't had a chance because I was so busy this weekend to watch the new episode of Peacemaker or Twisted Metal, which I'll probably watch tonight since Raw's already gone. And I realized I was trying to find shit, today I was sitting there, I was going to my Peacock. I'm like, I never watched season 3 of Chucky. So I just started watching season 3 of Chucky.
Is that the one where he's in the office?
In the White House, yeah. So I just started, I think I'm in like episode 2 or 3. So yeah, Jennifer Tilly, it's been out for forever, so you guys, not a spoiler, she just got convicted. So I don't know I think that's episode 3.
Gotcha. Okay. So last week I think I was telling you that my nephew had been watching Dexter.
Yeah.
So and the penultimate episode of Dexter Resurrection was Thursday or Friday, I guess. And he calls me up and he goes, so I caught up on all of Dexter. I just have to watch the newest episode tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. I'd already watched it because I watched it like Friday morning, and he's calling me like Friday evening to say I'm all caught up, but I have to watch the new episode tonight. I was like, oh, I watched it this morning. And they all season, you kind of felt like one of the other characters that still was alive from the original series was going to end up dead, right? So my nephew, as he's getting off the phone with me, is like, if you can, just do me a favor, or he goes, so Uncle Rob, Do you think they're going to kill off Angel Batista? And his fate is in the episode of that day, and I'd already watched it, so I had to sit there, and no matter what, I had to tell my nephew as if I hadn't watched the episode, like, well, anybody that gets close to finding out that Dexter is the killer, that typically ends up dead, and blah blah blah. But who knows? He's such a beloved character that you never know what's going to actually. And so obviously the episode hasn't been out even a week yet, so I'm not going to tell anybody what happens in it. But the season finale is this week, and it looks like it's going to be a fucking roller coaster. So I can't wait.
One more thing we're talking about, I forgot to add one movie I watched. You need to watch Working Man. I'm a big Jason Statham fan.
That movie's terrible.
You didn't like it?
No, I like the Beekeeper. I like the Beekeeper, but I didn't like Working Man.
Working Man was fucking awesome.
I'm a working man. It's what I do. Like I know you've seen the comedian that sits there and makes fun of that. Every Jason Statham movie has to tell you what he is, what the name of the movie is. So it's like, I'm a beekeeper. It's what I do. I kill people with bees, and I make honey. It's like what? That movie sounded so weird and stupid, but I had to go see it, and I did. And Working Man, it's the same fucking movie.
No,
no, it's not. But they are almost all the same. Like they all have him righting a wrong that got committed to someone he cares about.
And then I went back, and what's the other one I watched I had never seen before? Oh, what's the name of it? Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're in the prison. And Sylvester Stallone. Dude, I like that one too.
that one's actually a lot of fun, but it gave me Tango and Cash vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But they made like 3 other ones of that, and Batista.
Yeah, they went straight to DVD. I don't know if I want to watch those. And then last night, I'd never seen this movie either. I just wanted to watch it because I just wanted something mindless. Have you ever watched Big Stan with Rob Schneider?
No, and I'm not going to now.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
No, it's a Rob Schneider movie. I can't watch that. The only Rob Schneider movie that I think I ever liked, and you can get on me for not liking Deuce Bigelow and all that bullshit. Yeah, no. The only one that I liked was Judge Dredd with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I remember him making fun of not Schwarzenegger, Stallone, to Stallone's face, where he goes, "Oh, listen to you, Mister. I am the law," like that. And Schwarzenegger, I keep saying Schwarzenegger. Stallone keeps looking at him like, "I don't sound like that." And it's like, yes, you do. You sound just like that.
You gotta watch Big Stan. It's got like David Carradine. It is hilarious. He has to go to jail. He has to go to jail to give him like a 6 months like stay before he has to go. So he's trying to learn how to fight, and like David Carradine is his instructor, and he ends up learning how to fight, and it is hilarious. It's hilarious.
Sounds horrible.
It's hilarious. I was sitting there laughing by myself. Yeah, but so those are I gotta catch up on Twisted Metal and Peacemaker. Like I said, I'll probably do that this evening.
So I've fallen very far behind on Twisted Metal. I haven't watched any of it since watching like the first 3 episodes that dropped. Yeah, I know. And it's because I'm watching a lot of other stuff. I'm watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think the second to last episode is this week, and I mean it's been phenomenal this season. Invasion season 3 on Apple TV Plus just started this week. That was the one that I was signed to an NDA when they first announced that show. It's by the guy that it's by Simon Kinberg, the guy that wrote the X-Men movies.
Why are you signed to an NDA?
Because now that the show's out, I can talk about it. The NDA that I signed was because one of the characters in the show liked horror, but they didn't want to try to get the rights to the real horror stuff, so they came to me and asked if they could use like the posters from Junior High Horrors in the TV show. So I don't think they ever did use them, but you know they apparently anytime they want to get the okay to use real product, they have to request it. So they put me on like a 10-month NDA until the show actually launched, and then I watched every single episode hoping that I'd see my shit, and I don't remember seeing it.
But it's not over yet, is it?
Well, this is the new season. I was signed for the first season, so I mean I
Or
guess they
maybe
could use I guess they could use it still, but you know, I wasn't told I can't talk about it now. So, but it's basically about an alien invasion. The end of season 2, the humans actually like feel like they've defeated the aliens, and then season 3, you start finding out that they're getting ready for an even bigger strike. So, and then like I said, Dexter Resurrection ends this week. Peacemaker, I did watch. I won't go into too much. I really like how the first episode had like the making of, and then the second episode didn't have it. So I was a little disappointed by that. And Star Trek this week, Patton Oswalt was a character on it, and after the credits rolled on the episode, which was called 4.5 Vulcans because the crew ends up taking a serum to become Vulcan, and you know Spock's only half Vulcan. The thing I love about Star Trek Strange New Worlds is anytime they do something like that, they also change the space, the final frontier thing at the beginning of the show. So similar to how Peacemaker has the dance, you know, and no one skips that because it's the dance. With Strange New Worlds, anytime they're doing like when they did their musical episode, they actually had like people humming the whole thing for the theme song instead of actually.
They do that on Psych too. I don't know if you ever watch Psych, but if it's a episode, they'll change the theme song to match the episode of what they're doing.
Yeah, and so this week because Captain Pike became a Vulcan, he's like space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the and it's just funny hearing that, you know, and they're basically making fun of Spock the whole episode because he's half human. So they're like 5 Vulcans to beam down, and they're like 4.5 Vulcans. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is after the credits on it, they showed how Spock to get Patton Oswalt, who was another Vulcan, to get Patton Oswalt's help with something. Spock had to promise him that he would teach him how humans act about things. So after the credits rolled, he's trying to get, you know, and Vulcans don't ever use contractions, so they don't say isn't, for example. They say like it is or it you know, they say it is instead of it's, right?
Right.
And so you just keep hearing Patton Oswalt trying to say it's, and he's like, it is, it is, it is. And he's like, it's. And he's like, it is, it's, it is. And he's like, I am not hearing anything different. Like I'm hearing the same thing you were saying. And finally he goes, it isn't. And he goes, I have become human. I've completed it. I have not actually become human. That would be a lie. and like you see Spock, and he holds his finger out and he goes, pull my finger. And he goes, and what is to happen if I pull the finger? And so he pulls on the finger, and you just hear Spock go, flatulence. And he's like, is that really how it works? And he's like, it is. It's so stupid, but it's like the funniest thing I've ever seen in a Star Trek. So I lost it watching it. So anyways, that's my weekly watching. I didn't go to I did go to the movies last week because I had to be in places. But I went and saw the same things I'd already seen. So I saw Nobody 2 again this week, and it was equally as funny as it was the first time I saw it. So you definitely have to go see that one if you haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it.
All right. So which wrestling program would you like to start with? I guess we'll start with Dynamite because technically, or NXT if you want to talk NXT. Where's my NXT thing? It's not on there anymore. Let me go ahead Let me create one that just says NXT. There we go. So NXT last week, Tino, did you watch it? Did you catch up on it?
Was NXT, did the Dark State win the titles
They
at
won it at
NXT
Heat Wave.
Heat Wave?
They
So
won that at
last
Heat. So
okay.
the so the show started up with Ricky Saints coming out and being interrupted by Josh Briggs. And
Set
I
up
guess
that match.
it was the setup who's going to be the next in line for Obafemi's championship.
You knew it was going to be starts. I knew as soon as they set that match, I'm like, well, Briggs is losing.
Well, they've been trying to make Josh Briggs actually look like a pretty reputable and I guess someone that they can depend on, and if they want to push, they can give him a victory.
Yeah.
But then we have Kalani Jordan versus Blake Monroe, and interestingly enough, Kalani Jordan gets the victory here.
Yes. Because I don't think Blake's done with I don't think Jordan's done with Blake.
I think that's if based on how she got the victory and everything at Heat Wave, I think you're right. If Monroe had won clean, I think it's a given that Jordan Grace is going up to the main roster, but it wasn't a clean victory. So of course, they have unfinished business. But this made Kalani Jordan the number one contender, right?
Was it for the?
I think it's for the actual women's championship.
I don't think it was the women's championship because that's Lola Vice. I think she's the number one contender for Soul.
For the
North American.
Yeah, okay. Miles Bourne versus Lexus King.
That was an entertaining match. You knew it was going to end like that. Like that's how it ended when they did it all those years ago with Jake the Snake. He took the hood off so he could see what he's doing, and while the ref wasn't looking, cheated and put the hood back on.
Yeah, well, nowadays I would believe that they can actually see through the hoods. They just have to make it look like they can't. Whereas if I remember correctly, when
you could definitely see the. I mean, I've seen behind. Well, I think Maven or somebody that behind you can see that it was his because that's how they do it.
Right. But back in the day, I think the Jake the Snake one, there was one of those matches where they could not see through those things.
No,
they were falling out of the ring and shit.
I think that's why they started doing it where it looked like, it's probably like the mask that people wear. I'm talking about that material where they can see out, you can't see in. I think that's probably what those are made of.
Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair versus Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dane.
I like that they're calling Kendall Gray up from Evolve,
right?
Because she's good. I don't know where they're going with it.
I think it's really just as something to push Tatum and Izzy, because I mean they're part of the culling. So
yeah,
gave the match a B- on Bleacher Report. So I mean it must have been solid.
It was a good match.
Josh Briggs versus Ricky Saints. I'm gonna say I do like that Josh Briggs finally cut his hair.
Yeah,
he had too much of a Joe Gacy from the Wyatt Six look going on with the crazy hair. Decent match. Ricky Saints, like you said, gets the victory. Ricky Saints, I guess, is now the number one contender for Obafemi's title. Alba Fire versus Tyra.
Because I think that's where you can't go, because I think was that the match that Oba came out to confront, or because Ricky was talking. Did they say Oba came out? Or was that the end?
I don't think it was here based on what I'm reading.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. I might be getting ahead of it.
So we got Alba Fire versus Tyra May Steele. So I guess they're continuing the Secret Hervis versus the US woman.
And I'm reading that there's talks they want to pull Ethan up to SmackDown too, to be with
No,
Chelsea.
I mean, if they're gonna have Chelsea Green, if they're gonna have Chelsea Green doing double duty, I mean, Ethan Page is definitely the type that would do it.
No, but they want to call him up to the main roster, and I think that's just their way to get him in there.
Maybe Lola Vice, Zarya, and Sol Ruka versus Fatal Influence.
I mean, it's a good match. It's showing. I think that the Fatal Influence is about to break up. So I think JC Jane is getting too big for her britches, and I think that they're picking on the younger one. I keep calling her a younger one, not Fallon, the other one.
Jasmine Nix.
Yeah, so I think Jasmine. I think
who is fine as hell.
I think they're going to kick her out.
The funny thing is out of all of them, based on looks alone, she has the most upward potential.
I mean, they don't always count on looks neither, though. I mean,
no. It's not a.
You're just a horn dog old man. So I just want to talk about. I want to,
It's not a Vince McMahon run company anymore. So you're right, but look at the ones that they've always tried to push to the top. Alexa Bliss, as soon as she made the main roster, outdid anything she did in NXT like immediately.
Yeah, but Alexa Bliss also had wrestling chops. I don't think Jasmine. I think she needs to stay I don't think she's there yet. She's good, but I don't think she's good.
Sure. Sure. And I mean, but if they kick her out of the group, like most people that get kicked out of the group end up getting a push as a babyface, right?
Yeah, but I don't think. Well, yeah, just like Marty Jannetty, he was a babyface. Shawn Michaels was here when he got. So I mean,
that is true, but
that doesn't always work.
You're right, but because she'd be getting kicked out by the other two, that's where I'm thinking that like she'd get a push.
Or the other two could kick JC out because she's been talking shit to both of them. So I mean,
yeah, So and that looks like that was the end of the show. Bleacher Report said it was a solid match, but it might not have been the right choice to end the show. And I guess when you're coming up with a new number one contender for your men's championship, that probably should have been the closer. I guess is what they're probably saying there. Anyways, decent enough show. Nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously, you're seeing that they know they've got the best women's division in all of pro wrestling, and they continue to use it to the best of their ability. Because I mean, out of every show that we watch in terms of pro wrestling, NXT is definitely the most female wrestling that you see on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So, and this night there were 3 women's matches, and I think there were 5 total matches. So that tells you what's going on there. What is up, Terrence? It actually has your real name up there. It doesn't have Mr. Helios this week.
I think YouTube.
Yeah, I think so too. So he actually said that he thinks Logan Paul is going to win the Royal Rumble. I have news about that, and we'll get to that later. We'll talk about that when we talk about the United States Championship. But I guess we can jump into Dynamite, and if you want to add anything from Collision, you are more than welcome to. But your Dynamite.
I didn't watch Collision. That's still on my to watch.
All right, So AEW is setting up shop at the ECW or the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia.
Did I send you that Taz thing?
You did, and I watched the whole thing, and it was nice to see Taz get teared up. And I love how he's like, and I got worked by my wife, I got worked by my kid.
They said my wife kayfabe my son.
They kayfabe me. So I watched this, and we get Jon Moxley versus Danny Garcia to start the night. The match was fine for what it was, but Moxley ends up winning with the schoolgirl, and Danny Garcia pretty much like screams and yells and begs for another match against Moxley. Like you got pinned clean in the middle of the ring, and you think you get another match. And what ends up happening is Wheeler Yuta comes out, and there was some really weird interaction between Moxley and Danny Garcia outside the ring after the match was over. Like it was awkward. Like and nobody could figure out what it was. We didn't know if it was Moxley sitting there saying, "Hey, good job, kid," or if it was, you know, I want to see more of that out of you, or if it was like Garcia actually was really inflamed and wanted a real fight. I don't know. It just seems.
I think Moxley, because when he get out the ring, he kind of like I think it was Garcia earned his respect.
Yeah, and that's, I guess that's probably how they'll portray it when they finally, when all is said and done. But instead, they have Wheeler Yuta, who is from Philadelphia, come out, and the crowd is chanting "Fuck you, Wheeler," or "Fuck you, Yuta." Yuta, I mean, he literally is the piss pot holder for the Death Riders at this point. Like for a while, they were trying to say how you know up and coming he is and how good of a wrestler he is and all this other stuff. And now, I mean, he literally is just, you know, the whipping boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really understand what they're trying to do with him either. Like the entire, because you know, Garcia goes to the back and who comes out but, you know, Hook, and Hook decides to, you know, take out his frustrations on Wheeler Yuta, and they let him.
I don't understand Hook's new theme either. It was it was like a Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was weird.
So one of the nice things was the promo between Cope and Christian, but when he called them the CNC, I was like, are they going to say Music Factory? Like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, but you know, you were saying it at the pay-per-view that the British crowd was sitting there going, "Hey, Christian, I want to know, will you be my dad?" Right, and that's what they were singing to him in England. And then they go to the ECW Arena, and the crowd is basically saying "fuck FTR," and you know, like Christian starts by getting on the mic and saying, "I know you've got a dad, and you've got a dad,"
It stopped him.
And then Edge stops him, and they're like, let him talk, and he's like, you guys asked for it. Gave him back the microphone.
Because you guys are sick or something like that.
Yeah, like, you guys are sickos. You guys are sickos is what he said. And I'm trying to find if they actually put what the actual like law line was. They did not. But you know, pretty much we get Cope and Christian versus FTR at the next pay-per-view. Which goes head to head on the same day as WrestlePalooza, apparently. So,
which I'll probably be watching if they can't figure out their ESPN shit, YouTube.
Talked about the Moxley versus Garcia match. They gave the match an A. I wouldn't have called the match an A. Mm-mm. Yeah, the Moxley match, I wouldn't have called it an A. Then we get Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Statlander and Harley Cameron. And Willow Nightingale comes out after.
I didn't understand that. Are they gonna? Is Willow gonna finally make up with Stat? I mean, that was awkward too.
Well, it looks like that's what Harley wants, but even that doesn't really make sense to me. Like Harley ends up with a different partner like every other week, and we're just supposed to like go, oh, now they're a group.
For some reason, I don't understand why, but I think they're gonna phase Harley out of that, and it's going to be Statlander and Willow against Megan and what's her name, Penelope. And I don't. I mean, but I'd rather see Harley. Let Harley get her reps in because she's more over.
I mean, I would have Harley Cameron going after the Mercedes Moné belt and having a win. I know, but well, that's part of the reason why I would have her do it again because she should have won that match because she was so over it.
It's going to be Windsor.
Mercedes Moné refuses to acknowledge Alex Windsor during the championship celebration.
Like I said,
they gave this segment a D+
because she just wanted to dance.
Did you hear what Jim Cornette said this week about Mercedes Moné?
I don't listen to Jim Cornette, no. So what did Jim Cornette say?
It was a hell of a rant. He's sitting there saying she can't act, she can't wrestle, she can't do this. Tony Khan's spending all this money sitting there making sure that other companies are putting their championship belt on her. Like he went off. And I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying. It almost does seem like Tony Khan is sitting there having all these other companies put their belts on her. No one beyond Renee celebration shows.
You're cutting in and out. It's like you picked. I didn't hear what you said. It was
I think my internet is cutting out. I will be right back. If you want to talk about Dynamite, be my guest. I'm going to sit here and try to get this figured out.
I can't remember what the hell else happened on Dynamite, but so I want to talk about what do you guys think about the Hangman Adam Page thing? I like that. So Page came out. He acknowledged Ospreay. He told him, you go do what you need to do. I hope you come back healthy. And when you come back, I hope that you come back and challenge me for this title. I forgot what else happened on Dynamite. I was just going into the Hangman promo where he acknowledged Ospreay and pretty much told Ospreay, I want you to come back healthy so you can face me for this title.
Yeah. And we've now watched Ospreay get beaten down two pay-per-views in a row, obviously because plans changed and they decided to have him wrestle in England rather than go out for his surgery a month and a half ago. But it is probably neck fusion surgery, similar to what we just heard Kevin Owens going through. So he could be out 12 months. He could be out the rest of his career. We just don't know. You know what I mean? So it's good to see them actually like keeping him in the words in the talk, but who knows what goes on there. So all right, we get a hell of a match between Jet Speed, Brodito, and the Don Callis family. Like, there's no other way to describe it. It was a car crash, tandem tag team, 8-man tag match or whatever. But
Shots Alexander got the pin over Speedball.
And who did he pin? Speedball Mike Bailey. Who, good for him getting the money he's getting. How about that? Don Callis gave Hechicero the biggest introduction while Okada was presented almost separate from the family. Makes sense. We don't really necessarily think that Okada is going to be in the family for very long, do we? Okada and Takeshita gets into it during the match. Kenny Omega comes out to save Adam Page, and they actually have the hug moment.
Yep.
And I think the commentators were like, "Are we back in 2020?"
Because they were tag team champions, weren't they?
They were. I think they were the first tag team champions of AEW, I think. MJF cut a chilling promo backstage after Forbidden Door, promising to take Hangman's soul when he signed his contract after dealing with Mark Briscoe. at the same time, Tony Khan also made a new rule that says you actually have to give at least 1 week notice when you're going to cash in, which I kind of hate.
Why? Yet I don't get why, because that kind of defeats the purpose of being able to cash it in whenever you want.
Yeah, I think it's because he's thinking about ratings.
Okay.
You know, like
AEW's they'll do good. They'll like take two steps forward and then do something stupid like that and knock some 3 steps back.
I agree. And this is you saying it, not me. So trios championships, the Ops versus Ricochet and the Gates of Agony.
You knew they weren't going to win that. I think I knew they were going to win that when MVP showed up, because you knew the Hurt Business was coming back because the Gates of Agony cost them their tag title. So I guess they're going in a program with them now.
Yeah, it does officially look like that. And I with the Hurt Business or Hurt Syndicate, I never know whether or not they're the good guys or the bad guys. And I'm not going to call them tweeners because they're not tweeners.
Well, I think right now, if they're going against Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, they're going to be the face of that. And I got a feeling this is when we see Cedric Alexander come in.
It's very possible, and it would make sense. Unless MVP himself is going to wrestle.
I don't think he is. I think he's more of a part-time wrestler. I think he's going to lean into that management role. He's going to be the J.J. Dillon of that 4 horseman team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Just like he was when they were in WWE and they were actually getting pushed. Darby Allin versus Claudio Castagnoli in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Why did Cesaro go to AEW in the first place?
I guess he thought he was going to be pushed better.
I mean, he's in the top group, but he's not even number 2 in that group. I'd say that's Marina Shafir. You know, she gets more airtime than he does.
Yeah.
But I mean, they damn near killed Darby Allin like 4 days before that at the pay-per-view, and then I'm supposed to believe that Darby Allin's going to win a Falls Count Anywhere match against literally the strongest guy in pro wrestling.
How did he win it? The coffin drop. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a coffin
drop. Both men needed that, though. After an intense steel cage match at Forbidden Door, they warred around the arena and protected the Swiss Superman while giving Allin the necessary victory. Mox versus Allin is clearly the match for All Out. The match started with Castagnoli throwing Allin in a shopping cart and sending him into a set of chairs.
Yep.
The Daredevil climbed a high pole at ringside and coffin dropped Castagnoli for a near fall, emulating Bam Bam Bigelow tossing Spike Dudley in the same arena. Castagnoli tossed Allin out of the ring and onto the announce table. Like 4 days after we saw Obafemi do the same thing to the young OG. For some reason, Kid wore a hoodie to disguise himself briefly for his attack on Allin, but it was obviously who was attacking. They gave the show overall an A-, even though they gave the Mercedes Moné segment a D+.
So I guess the rest of the show
made up for everything else. I will say that the atmosphere in that arena and having Taz on commentary in that arena really does change the way you feel about the whatever is going on that night. And apparently this is going to be a weekly thing for them for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So similar to what they did in Texas and then in Chicago, apparently.
Yeah.
Like the way the arena was set up, it had an old school yet new school feel to it. But I don't think the show was an A- by any means. The whole Moxley not taking time off thing even has other wrestling programs talking about it now, where they're like, what is this? Like we thought he was going to go away for a while, and he's just Every
He needs,
week he's on TV.
he needs to go away.
He does, and not for an extended period of time, but maybe 4 weeks. That's what I would do anyway. I don't know. All right, SmackDown. Anything from SmackDown you really want to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing I want to talk about from SmackDown.
I keep
Main
wanting to
event.
say it's not Bray. It's
Oh, the Wyatt Six.
yeah, no, but most importantly, Bo Dallas.
Bo showing up as Bo.
Yeah, and looks like there's going to be start of it. He was trying to warn the Street Profits, and he looked to be talking to D'Angelo, right? And so I think that's why I said I think that Montez was going to turn. But watching the pay-per-view, I'm like, what if they're swerving me? What if it's D'Angelo turning? And we'll talk about it later. And Montez stays face. They're breaking up the Street Profits, but I thought it was because Montez was turning heel. What if D'Angelo turns on Montez?
I mean, stranger things have been known to happen. I mean, didn't Tucky turn on Otis before they fired him?
The only reason I say that is, like I said, the pay-per-view, the look on D'Angelo's face, right, and his whole demeanor. I'm like, ooh.
Well, I also found it weird that like Dawkins, you keep calling him D'Angelo. Dawkins.
I know. Dawkins, sorry.
Dawkins was the one that gave the backstage interview, and Montez didn't say a single word, and that is totally unlike them. But anyway, this happened on SmackDown. Sami Zayn in Lyon, France, wins the U.S. title against Solo Sikoa.
Poor Big Jim.
You saw the picture that said now all members of the OG bloodline have won a singles title except for one.
Not only that, though, he's been feuding with them for a year, right?
Yep.
Sami Zayn comes on, and 2 weeks later, he's the champion.
Well, I gotta say, on Raw today, he probably thought it was JC Mateo beating Jey Uso down, and that's why he still ran down. Because I mean, like, Bronson Reed sitting there taking out Jey Uso, and Jimmy comes running down for no reason. He's not even supposed to be at that show because he's not on Raw.
You obviously didn't pay attention at the end. You weren't listening to what they were saying, were you?
No, is he going to start a program on Raw now, or is he just helping out?
Going off the air. If you see you in such a hurry trying to make stupid jokes. If you'd have listened, you'd have heard Jay saying, "I can't do this by myself. I need you." That's what he was saying as it was going off the air. It wasn't Mike. So I think that because think about it, you got the vision, and it's just Jay. I think it's going to be the Usos and LA Knight. It's going to be like a weird kind of. They're not going to be together, but they're going to be loosely integrated with each other. It may only be the Usos, but I think CM Punk and Knight will help when he can.
Interesting. I mean, maybe. What I'm hearing, though, about this U.S. title victory for Sami Zayn is this, Tino, and I don't know if you've heard it, but they're using it as a dry run to see how popular they can get Sami Zayn because they're thinking about, and I know that Terrence had already said that he thinks Logan Paul's winning the Royal Rumble, but the rumor is that Sami Zayn is the number one person that they've got in mind to win the Royal Rumble this year.
I think it's too little too late. We've talked about this, you know what I mean? They should have struck when he was white hot. I mean, he's still, don't get me wrong, he's still over, but like you even said, you were mad when they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania, right? They should have pulled the trigger then. I think
it was the consolation prize. Yeah.
It's a couple years too late. If he wins, great, but I think it's too late. And they could prove me wrong.
I mean, we've seen stranger things where like people have been able to get hot again, and it's possible that Sammy, depending on what kind of program they put him in, he could get hot again, right? If they had him if they had him and Cody tag teaming against someone, you know, like leading up to it, maybe.
So why now?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, it's too little, too late, but
I think I got an idea why now.
because they're going to turn Cody heel.
That or ESPN, they've got Sammy is they're doing business with Saudi now. Sammy's hot in Saudi. I mean, they always do something for a reason. I don't think it's Sammy. I think they're doing it to keep up, just like they start pushing a lot of the like the Penta and when they want to start getting the AAA. Remember when they wanted to start working with Japan, they started pushing Asuka and Shinsuke. You know, I think there's always a reason for it. And I think Sammy is a tool to help them keep up with Saudi Arabia.
Well, I think he's. I guess the best way for me to describe it is I think Sammy is like a 5-tool player for them. You need a baby face, he can be one. You need a heel, he can be one. You want comedy, he can be that. You want great in the ring, he's going to give you that every night. The downside, well, I mean, you can all of a sudden have him in a program against Logan Paul now, and you'd be completely fine with, you know, an extended program between the two of them because you know that both of them are going to deliver and Sammy will show up every week. You know, it's kind of like Kevin Owens. Like, how many times did Kevin Owens main event PLEs, even though we knew he wasn't winning the title? You know what I mean?
They wasted that too, you know.
Well, I agree with that, and I think that's because they knew they were really onto something with Roman Reigns holding, you know, the undisputed championship. You know, back then, if they had had a second top champion, then Sammy or Kevin could have won those belts, and nobody would have batted an eye at it. We would all been okay with it.
And just like they put the U.S. title on L.A. Knight, that was a consolation prize. They knew he should have been
Well, and
for the world champion.
So here was an interesting fact I heard at the pre-show for the PLE yesterday. The average age of the 4 men going for the world title was 41.75 years old. The interesting thing there is that, you know, they keep saying that LA Knight's too old at 42. But Seth is in his 40s. Jey Uso just turned 40. And
Cody's 40s?
No, I think Cody's 39. But CM Punk is 45. And 3 of those guys have held that championship. And you don't ever look at them and go, those guys are 40 years old. They don't look it. Punk looks it. But none of the others look like they're 45 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, it's really interesting because, you know, you do have some really good young talent, but you're not going to put the world title on a Carmelo Hayes right now, and you're not going to put it, you know, on a Grayson Waller, you know, these 26-year-old kids. But yet with women's championships, they absolutely will do it.
They need to start, because I was watching somebody else on TikTok, and they brought a good point. What happened? So you still got Cena's leaving. So your people that and all their stars now. Triple H didn't make these stars. They were stars through Vince, right? Triple H hadn't made anybody yet. So you got your John Cena, you got your Randy Orton, you got your Roman Reigns, you got your Seth Rollins, right? And just like you said, they're all going to be aging out soon. They have not, and they keep putting the title on these same people instead of pushing these younger folks like a Carmelo, like a Ilya Dragunov. You know, when he comes back, you know what I'm saying? I understand why, but there's going to come a time when all these guys, like Cena's already out, right? He's on his way out. When the rest of these guys go, you haven't taken the time to build anybody else up. You're fucked.
Yeah, I think that, okay, so saying that Triple H hasn't created any of these guys isn't fully true, okay? And it's because he started NXT. So your Seth Rollins, your Roman Reigns, your Jey Usos, they were all NXT guys that he did actually create. They didn't really change any of their gimmicks when they moved up to the main roster, right?
So Jay, I give you Jay, but Seth Rollins got pushed under Vince McMahon. This is for Triple H takeover, is what I'm saying.
Sure. No, no, and I get that. I get what you're saying.
I'll give you Jay.
And I mean,
they already established before Triple H took over.
But he has made Jey Uso. And
Okay.
and I'm even going to say that I'm even going to say that the popularity level that LA Knight has right now, even though we feel like he's been held down by Triple H, is Triple H's doing because when he was working under Vince, he was Maximum Models.
Right. But what I'm saying, God forbid, if all these other stars I just named off
Sure.
fucking went down in a WWE plane, right? He didn't have anybody else because he's not building up the younger talent to be able to step up and take these people's places.
And you know what? The sad thing is it's a really hard thing to do. Because I will say this. You look at Roman Reigns right now, and Bronson Reed's in a much better position than he was because Roman Reigns is willing to work with him. You know what I mean? I do think that when you have those types of matches, that's exactly what that's doing. It's putting Bronson Reed on the map. Braun Breaker is a star. You know, having him underneath Seth, I really hope that the vision isn't a long-term thing. But we've seen where Triple H will keep something together for too long.
I think that I don't think it's under the vision. I think them being under, and it's not the vision, I think them being under the Paul Heyman learning tree will work wonders for them when that does finally break up, right? That's why I have no problem with the vision. While I don't, the chemistry and all those guys together, I'm not really quite feeling yet. I do think that Braun and Bronson being young will be able to learn if they listen to Heyman. Heyman will guide them, right? So for that reason, I think that it's good for now.
Well, I 100% agree. I think though that having them under Seth Rollins is just allowing Seth Rollins to do what Roman Reigns did for 4 years.
Yes. Yeah, it's a Bloodline 2.0. That's all it is. He's got his Oracle wise man. You know, it's a Bloodline 2.0.
Technically 3.0 because Solo ran 2.0, but we saw what happened with that. And that one's still technically going. The stock report on Solo Sikoa after winning the U.S. title, I mean, like a couple of weeks ago, we saw Jacob Fatu having some issues with Sami Zayn, but they made up by the end of the episode. Where's this put Jacob Fatu at this point? Because he's babyface and over like Rover, but you also have two babyface champions now on the same brand.
Unless he goes back here, which I doubt. I think that that's why I think Cody's about to drop that belt to give them a heel champion.
Well, I even told you. I think that Cody getting the belt off of Cena was smart because it has Cody be the guy that the torch is passed to. But I told you I don't see a problem where Drew McIntyre ends up beating him for that title. You know, and then I would love to see a Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. Like that has WrestleMania marquee match written all over it. You know, that is a big money match. So I that's what I would like to see. So
Yep.
hopefully we end up getting there. We still got more and more with the Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte goes down with a quote unquote knee injury. What I thought was really funny was it was the knee that she didn't have the brace on that she was favoring.
No, it was her left knee. That she clipped her left knee with had the knee brace on it.
The way she was hobbling, she was definitely hobbling as if it was the opposite knee, which just shows how bad she is at faking it.
I wasn't really paying close attention.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about Clash. So
The last review I'll probably watch.
No, you'll come over to my place and watch other ones. In fact, I was just looking. Spectrum, by the way, I know that you got rid of them, and good on you for doing it. Spectrum, depending on what television plan you have, allows you to have these streaming apps. Are you ready? Paramount Plus, Peacock, ESPN, Disney Plus, and Hulu, HBO Max. So I'm getting ready to look at what the plan costs versus what I'm paying right now, because if I get all of those apps included, I will cancel all of the apps to save the money and pay, whatever the plan cost is, because I still can't get rid of Spectrum right now. But Spectrum actually gives you all of those apps right now. Now, granted, it's with commercials.
It gives you the apps?
Yeah, it says they're all included with your plan.
Well, like the Spectrum streaming plan or the Spectrum cable plan?
It's their TV plan.
No.
So, but anyways, first match I want to talk about, I didn't even create a little banner for it, was Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch. I know it wasn't the first match of the night. In fact, I didn't even create one for the first match of the night. Let me do that real quick, because I was just actually talking about it. But Becky versus Nikki Bella. I think this is like the third match of the night. Yeah, it was, because it was after the tag team title match. I was talking about this match for a little bit because someone in a message board or on one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook was saying that Nikki Bella posted on Twitter that she's like, why is it that a 37-year-old woman can't get the same kind of run that a 37-year-old man can get in pro wrestling? And I don't think that's not true anymore. I think that Trish Stratus showed it last year, because isn't she in her 40s?
I don't know.
I think she's in her 40s, but she had like a 6 or 8 month run last year where she was in a top program with Becky Lynch. What's her face who broke her leg really badly?
Zoe Stark.
Yeah, Zoe Stark. So I mean, she had a huge long program. So
Trish is about to turn 50 in December.
So I don't think Nikki Bella is right with what she says here. But then when I see her go out and have this, what at best was a C+ match with Becky Lynch, I totally know why she's not going to get an extended program, even though she did show back up on Monday Night Raw today. I mean,
I think that was a one in, and I think they did that. I think the purpose for her coming back was to go for Liv, and I think they had to piece together, hodgepodge that thing with Becky together.
Yeah, they definitely had to pivot on it,
because they probably had a certain amount of dates that with her, so they wanted to go ahead and use her because they didn't know when Liv was coming back.
Michael Turner said Nikki's never right about what she's saying. There was the rope spot where she was supposed to come off and I guess do like a enziguri kick, and Becky was just nowhere to be found, and it just looked terrible. Like it was just bad. Like I didn't even know what to say to that one. There was no way to protect it. It just ugh. What I didn't like was this was a match where she also was using all of Becky's own moves against her.
Mm-hmm.
And that became a theme through the rest of the night. I noticed there was a lot of people using their opponent's moves. And
that thing it's hadn't done before. I mean, fucking Rock and Stone Cold did it. You know what I mean?
No,
I didn't see anything wrong with that. They were trying, because they were saying it would be bad if Becky would have lost the match, to her own
move. No, yeah. I agree. I agree with that. But what I mean is, it was a theme for the rest of the night. So like every match doing the tope suicida over the top rope. I don't need to see that in every match. You know what I mean? I don't need to see the table spot in every match. I don't need to see blood every match. That's what makes them special, is when they do happen at one time in a night, you know?
Mm.
So that's all I'm saying there. I like, if she was the only one to have done it, no problem. But when you have Logan Paul do it with John Cena's moves, and you also have Rusev and Sheamus trading the opposites moves, then there's a little something there that, like, okay,
That's on the producers then. I'm sure that's probably something that we'll see next time on Unreal.
But I want to point out specifically to you that this is a complaint I'm having with WWE, as well as one I would have with AEW. I just want to point that out, because I know that you like to say,
Like I said, the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while. Every once in a while. I'm just saying, I'm not saying you don't ever say anything negative about WWE. I just say you say more. It's more usually towards AEW than WWE.
well, when you see stuff like that more often in AEW,
But what I'm saying, my point is, if WWE does it, it's all good. But if AEW does it, that's what my point is. I'm like, WWE does the same thing.
I even said that. I even said they do the same thing.
Yeah, but you said yourself they copied the Darby Allin and the Obafemi Young OG thing, right? So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Stuff gets recycled, I guess is what I'm saying.
Bronson versus Roman Reigns. I'm going to be honest here. I was actually hoping Bronson Reed would win the match.
No, they first of all, he had to get his shoes back. Second of all, weeks and weeks and weeks, like I always say, I go back to my 5-year-old me. They've always got the best of Roman. Roman had to get his comeuppance and get his shoes back, and he won, but they still got him at the end. So I had no problem with it.
Yeah, him autographing the shoes and throwing them out to the crowd, I thought was a cool piece. And then, of course, watching Braun Breaker just spear him out of nowhere was like, holy shit, almost knocked him out of his shoes again, So the moment with Heyman in the ring, oh, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, and all of that, I thought was hilarious. The match was good. It really did. I think it elevated Bronson Reed to a level he hasn't been.
That's what I'm saying. That Roman actually sold. He actually, he let Bronson get his shit off.
Now, granted, I think it's because Roman's probably off TV until a couple weeks before Survivor Series, but
Possibly.
So Wyatt Six and the Street Profits. You were talking about this earlier. You started saying that you thought the Street Profits were going to break up here. It looked like they might,
because the way the match started, Dawkins wanted to start the match. He kind of like made him go back, and when the aggressive, and they didn't show it on camera, but the commentators made sure to mention the aggressive tag when Montel wanted to come back in. I was watching, like I said, Dawkins' facials and his body language. I'm like, maybe I was wrong.
He looked angry.
Maybe it's gonna be Dawkins that turns and not Montel.
And Montez.
Damn it.
It's okay. It's okay. Michael Cole does it all the time. I have to say, the branding for the Borderlands 4 game in this match, I thought was great. The Street Profits coming down wearing gear that was made specifically for it, but also wearing the Berserker masks.
Yeah,
I thought really cool. Now, they did look like they were just enhanced versions of like an Iron Man mask, but I thought they came off really well. I did find it a little bit funny that, now granted, with the Wyatt Six, since the characters are the Berserkers, it might have actually made more sense to put the masks on them, except they don't seem like the type of characters that would wear masks like that. So I totally get why they went the direction they did with that. But good on them for branding it well and getting the advertisement out there while also allowing them to just have a regular match and not a zombie match. But I guess we have to wait until Friday to find out whether or not the Street Profits are still mad at each other.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite match of the night. Sheamus and Rusev in the old school Donnybrook match. Now, this is the 5th Donnybrook match in WWE history, first one in a year. And
Sheamus wins them all. They said they made a point of saying that Sheamus has not lost a Donnybrook match, which I knew Sheamus is about to lose this Donnybrook match.
yeah, I think that this one was important to re-solidify Rusev as a monster in the WWE, and I think it did its job. I didn't think Sheamus was going to be able to get up after he did the white noise through the 2 tables. Like he looked physically hurt because he kept grabbing his neck after that.
Well, they put him through that fucking bar. That's towards the end, wasn't it? I was like, oh my God.
No, that was like in the middle of the match. Like,
Yeah,
like
like,
they went for like another 15 minutes after that. And I mean, what I was worried about there was that they talked about how when Sheamus went through it, his head actually went through where the 2 pieces came together. So it was like, like his head went through right there, which, I mean, you're hitting the hardest part of the thing. So it's, but hell of a match between the 2 of them. I mean, those 2, I literally in our text messages, I sat there and said I wouldn't want to follow that. And I knew the 2 matches we still had coming up. We had the 4-way dance, and we had John Cena versus Logan Paul. And you know that John Cena versus Logan Paul, you're expecting at least one major spot in the match. We didn't really get that. We got another banger of a match from John Cena. 40 minutes long. They just kept going. Logan Paul kicked out of, I think, 3 AAs. Got out of the STFU. Like, there's nothing that kid can't do. And I don't know if you saw his note that he posted on Twitter afterwards, but he was very, very complimentary of John Cena after the match, and basically said, I don't know if people actually understand how good of a wrestler John Cena really is. But this match also brought something else out, and you sent me a YouTube short about it. Why don't you go ahead and say what it was?
Oh, they were saying that was the reason why Cena did the AA. Not the AA, I'm sorry, the Styles Clash. He said because he knows that he doesn't have a lot of time left, and there's people he don't want to wrestle again. And one of the people he would have liked to wrestle again was AJ. Since he can't wrestle AJ, he in honor of him, I guess homage of him, paid homage to him by doing the Styles Clash.
Well, so I want to point out there was a couple other things too. He did Baron Corbin's slam.
Yep.
Logan Paul has now added in Cesaro's uppercuts.
Yep.
And there was
something zigzag, wasn't it?
And the zigzag. So they made verbal mention of Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro on program.
Who did the zigzag?
Logan Paul did.
Okay.
And he didn't do a setup or anything. He grabbed him by the back of the head and just slammed him down, which I guess is the zigzag. But John Cena did the white noise, not white noise. He did what did Baron Corbin always call that slam that he did?
Fuck.
End of days. The end of days. So he did the end of days, and there was even one more move.
Huh?
Yeah, the Boss Man Slam. There was even one more move that they did, but I don't remember what it was. But I mean, like, John Cena, his last 2, well, I guess 2 of his last 3 matches, because he did have the tag team match with Cody before Cody did
Pop Rock again, or the Code Red. They ain't called it Pop Rock.
Well, they keep mentioning Roxanne Perez every time he does it. So, hell of a match though. Like and what I thought was great was at the post show, John Cena came out and talked for like 15 minutes. He was just thankful of the crowd. I mean, he specifically said on Jimmy Fallon that he needed to go to France to wrestle in front of the best crowds that the WWE gets.
He said because he's never been there. He said he's heard about those fans. He has FOMO, so he got there. He got to do it. And it was cool that he had the kid that he what was it when he first
Russell.
got back and he kind of healed out on. The kid was there, and so he
Well,
kind of
he was there. He was there Friday and
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Like I said, though, hell of a match. They tore the house down. It was almost impossible to do better than the Rusev and Sheamus match, and there weren't any real crazy Logan Paul spots. I didn't think. I might have missed one, but I don't think I did. I think they kept the match mainly inside the ring. Obviously, Logan Paul likes to do Hangman Adam Page's finisher as well, the buckshot lariat, but his doesn't look nearly as good as Hangman's does. Like he took like 2 extra steps when he did it to Cena. Like I said, hell of a match. I am getting to the point where I'm absolutely going to miss John Cena not being there. And then we had the main event, which I don't know if you noticed, but I put it in our group chat that we have between you, me, and VZ Presidente, and it sounded like the crowd finally was wore out. Like the crowd they were not nearly as loud for that main event. Like they sang CM Punk's entrance on his way in, they sang Seth's entrance on his way in, but they were tired because they had been chanting all night.
They still yeet it.
What's that?
They still yeet it. They did.
They did yeet. And they were doing yeet, yeah, yeet, yeah, yeet, yeah. Main event wasn't nearly as long as the 2 previous matches either. Like, I don't know if it's because they just let those 2 matches go for whatever reason. Maybe because the 2 Europeans wrestling in a European country were going to be more over. I don't know. But we knew earlier in the night that Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman were nowhere to be found in the building. But we're all waiting to find out what Seth's going to do to cheat in the main event because anytime there's a heel champion in WWE, they never win the match on their own. So what did we get, Tino?
We got Becky Lynch in a hood. And I could tell when she came in the room, I was like, that's a woman. Never did I figure it was Becky till she took.
I thought it could have been Ilya Dragunov, actually, but because he is kind of skinny.
Yeah. So is Becky. We got Becky low blowing CM Punk to allow Seth to hit the stomp for the win.
And then we went home, and I had a sour taste in my mouth after that main event. That's all I can say about it. So, we both got a chance to watch Monday Night Raw today. Anything? Go ahead.
I want to say. Remember, we were also in the group chat. You were pondering if The Rock would show up, because they needed something big going to the next pay-per-view. And it looks like, because I've read a couple of things, and they said creative has talked about, I think what they're doing at WrestlePalooza, AJ Lee's coming back.
Yeah, I think
first, I thought it was AJ, but then when he was backstage with Rhea, I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that. I think AJ's coming back, especially when Becky was slapping the fuck out of him, and he said, "You're gonna be sorry you put your hands on me." And then when he's backstage with Pierce and saying, "Where's SmackDown Friday?" and there's like "Home Sweet Home Chicago," he's like, "Oh, okay." I got a feeling.
Yeah,
that's when she comes back.
It would make the most sense, and the way
that's the big thing they're looking for moving into ESPN, trying to draw eyes to that first pay-per-view.
Maybe, like the problem with that is that those intergender matches at PLEs never seem to do very well.
And is AJ just going to come back for just this few little thing, or you do you think she'll come back on the regular now?
It's probably one of those things where she has a match and then they go, "How do you feel?" And you figure out whether or not the itch is there. Maybe they're talking it into a all the way through Survivor Series thing. I don't know. Obviously, Triple H loves doing war games at Survivor Series, so he normally likes taking his 10 best people and putting them in that match. And I'd rather see some of these other matches be just as well built. Like a Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the title at Survivor Series. I'd be totally down with that. I do think that you're right. I think that this one kind of just leads into an AJ Lee. If she doesn't show well, and if I were booking it, the way that I would do it is I would have CM Punk doing a promo, having Seth and Becky come out, maybe even Seth and Becky. I don't think they need Bronson and Braun at this point, but they both come out and they both start beating down CM Punk, and that's when the music hits and she comes running out and saves the day. What's that?
I'm skipping now.
I would hope she just runs out for it.
Yeah. She'd run, obviously, save her husband, but
but yes, you're talking about like
they could start a program with her and Becky, even short term, over that Intercontinental belt. You know what I mean?
They absolutely
While
could.
Lyra probably busy with Bailey, so
yeah, I don't disagree. I think that you're right. On the same program, we also had, for the millionth time, Jey Uso, LA Knight versus Bronson and Braun. So the Braun. God, for some reason I wanted to say shake your Braun. I hate myself for it.
I hate you for it too. In my head now.
I'm not even drinking tonight, so
Scary.
What's that?
That's scary.
Yeah, I know, right? There was no Paul Heyman. Oh, because he's still in the hospital after yesterday. That's right. See, I was really hoping they were going to do a segment where they show them fighting at the like they're beating down Roman again at the hospital, and they just didn't do it. I thought that would have been fun and cool. Also thought the Donnybrook match should have happened in an actual bar. Thought that would have been cool. We also had the Intercontinental title match between AJ Styles, who is the most over person in France for some reason, because they love singing that Phenomenal song to him. I don't know if you noticed, so I've started watching, when I watched the Netflix Raw, I let it run for about 40 minutes before I actually start it, and then I play it from the beginning because it removes the commercials.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Yeah. So it removes the commercials. If you catch up, you have to watch the rest of the commercials, but it gets rid of the commercials. So anybody that's not doing that with Monday Night Raw, now you know. And after watching the Stephanie McMahon podcast, you also know that you can go ahead and get a VPN so that you can watch.
ESPN was pissed. Did you read about that too? They were pissed.
Yeah. Did they make the right call by having El Grande Americano costing AJ Styles the match? I mean, we saw how the crowd erupted with Sami Zayn winning the U.S. title on Friday. Did they make the right call, or should they have actually pulled the trigger and given AJ Styles the match?
Should have pulled the trigger, especially, like you said, they were singing to him. If he'd have won, that roof would have come off that place.
They sang to him, and you heard the boos after Dominic won the match. And we know that Dom is typically over almost babyface style where he goes now, with them going dirty, dirty Dom.
So I think he'll return a favor next week in AAA when Dom's facing Vikingo for the title.
I think Dom ends up winning against Vikingo. I think Dom, they want to be a big time attraction in AAA.
So they're gonna let him hold 2 belts, though. That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought AJ was going to win tonight, and Dom would go and win that belt next week, right?
That's what I would have done. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah. We're still getting more and more of the Kabuki Warriors are slowly becoming my favorite thing on Monday Night Raw, and
Why?
it's because Asuka is so heel, and Kairi Sane is just standing there like,
And it's like, "Hey!"
yeah, exactly. Kairi's just sitting there looking at Rhea Ripley, and she's like, Kairi, let's go. And she's like,
She did it twice. She did it with Io when she was talking to Io too.
well, if you notice, she also came into both of those segments because there was the interviewer there, like Kathy Kelly was there, and there, she's like, excuse me, and then the Kathy Kelly just like walks off screen both times. It's, I don't know, I'm really enjoying that a lot more than I probably should be. So
Yeah.
so you asked, that's where I'm feeling about that. Sorry. Uh, anything else that you got on Raw?
I think that was it. We did the LA. We did the at the end. Like I said, I think Jay's coming to Raw for the Usos and like I
Jimmy.
said, LA Knight and LA Knight and CM Punk are going to be loosely affiliated. They're going to be a not really faction, loosely, the common enemy kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, it like you said though, it just feels like another bloodline thing, and now it just feels like the people from the bloodline are on the outside looking in rather than the inside looking out, right?
But like I said, they got to
Uh,
do with Jimmy, dude.
yeah. Well, I've been saying all along I feel bad for Jimmy. They and the fact that, well, I guess there's no real reason for him to sit at home with his pregnant wife, but I mean, like, they did just announce that. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Cody Rhodes and Brandy on their second child.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah,
like
I don't know,
that
because
came,
wasn't Brandy drinking with Cody on the bus?
that might have been. You don't know when they filmed that though either. So
That's true. That's true. I do have one last thing I want to talk about, and it's Jake Hager,
I didn't see it. Someone let you do that.
who was on the Chris Van Vliet podcast this week, and Jake has retired from pro wrestling. Okay, he's now a truck driver. He owns his own trucking service, and it's called Hall & Oates, by the way.
Of course it is.
Yeah, so he named it Hall & Oates, HAUL, obviously, the play on words. But anyways, he didn't have a lot of good things to say about people, except people like Dutch Mantel. Like Dutch, he sat there and he was like, I learned so much from Dutch, and we call him Poopy. Like that's his nickname from us. We call him Poopy. And he said, Kelly's nickname is Poops. And he's like, it has nothing to do with taking craps or anything. We just always called her Poops because apparently she used to ride with them, I guess. I don't know. But one of the things that he actually said was he talked about when he had Money in the Bank, and that Monday after he won the Money in the Bank, so the night after WrestleMania, because that's when Money in the Bank used to be, the night after WrestleMania, he attacked John Cena, and you thought he was going to cash in, but it was just a tease. And what he was told backstage was it was because John Cena refused to lose the title to him.
Really?
And this sounds like news to people because John Cena seems like the type of person that would have put other people over. And on this tour, and actually for like the last 6 or 7 years that John Cena's been wrestling 1-2 matches a year, he lost every single match. So he put over Austin Theory, for God's sakes. Like Solo Sikoa. But it was odd to hear that. And he said I want to make sure that people know that I wasn't told directly by John Cena that, but I was told by people backstage that John said, no, you're not winning the title. And that's why he ended up cashing in on Chris Jericho 4 nights later And that was after Chris Jericho had just had that really long feud with, I think it was Shawn Michaels. So he took the title right off of Chris Jericho, which is funny because now, you know, obviously him and Chris Jericho are really close.
Yeah. His bodyguard it was the Inner Circle.
Yeah, in the Inner Circle. I like this hat. He actually talked about how he had tried to push a gimmick to Tony Khan where the purple hat, all Jake Hager was ever going to say was, I like this hat. So no matter what question you asked him, he was going to say, I like this hat. And that was going to be that. It would have been. And he's like, yeah, and Tony just didn't like it. And he goes, oh, and before we get anywhere into this, let me go ahead and just say, I try to do this every day of my life now, but I find a reason to say, fuck Tony Khan. And he really meant it because, like, he was talking about how he had done the 2 stadium stampedes. He was the big surprise on AEW Dynamite's very first episode because he was like the surprise that came out to actually start the JAS. Remember the Jericho Appreciation Society? And after after being the big surprise, after being all this stuff, like when his contract came up, Tony Khan was like, I'll give you an 18-month contract. And he's like, 18 months? What the fuck's 18 months? Nobody does an 18-month contract. Like, you either do 3 years, you do 2 years, you do a year, but 18 months? So he was like, so at that point, you know, like I knew it wasn't the place for me, but, you know, I still negotiated and everything because I was still working with Jericho and whatever. And then he's like, but if you look at it, I was an undefeated MMA star. And I came in, did all this stuff, and I was just a joke. So, you know, he's another one of those people that just at this point does not think that the booking in AEW is where it should be. So, I mean, it's not surprising that he would have those feelings.
Yeah.
So, and then he talked about, you know, backstage, he said, I want to protect the business. So he didn't talk a lot about the backstage stuff or anything, but he did talk about like, you know, the We the People stuff and how the very first episode of Dynamite, you know, he came out and he was telling people not to do it. And they were still going We the People when he showed up. So, you know, it's like, we got that over. Anyways, that's pretty much the big takeaway is that Jake Hager is not an AEW fan. He is retired from pro wrestling, so do not expect to see him. But, you know, money talks. So if they want to throw him in a Royal Rumble, he may show up. So there you go. You got nothing else?
Got nothing else.
Keep in mind, Zora's been nominated for a Ringo Award for Best Kids Book. Michael Adams is also nominated for Best Colorist in Comics. So two really important awards for us. We are doing everything we can to try to get those. And Tino, why don't you take us out?
All right. You can check me. I'm going to close these curtains. You can check me on Blue Sky. You can check me on, I am on Insta, SC Tino. Same thing with us. Insta, SC Tino. I am on the TikTok Tino Our Great Music. You can find us, Potsy and Tino. On X, we're Potsy and Tino Show. On Facebook, we're here each and every week, right here on the Pots and Pans Network. Please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, buy our shit. As always, we want to say thank you for all the years of service to Adam's House Cats for you were our theme song. You can still check them out on iTunes for 99 cents 99. Michael Turner said he voted.
Well, for the actual award, you do have to have a comic book credit to get it. So we're trying to ask all of our comic book professional friends to help us out by giving us a vote. Tino, everybody out here can find me on just about all of the socials at either Potchak, Rob Potchak, or Rob Potsy Potchak. For Tino Gray, this is Rob Potchak for the Potsy and Tino Show, and we are signing off tonight, folks. Have a wonderful one. Hope you enjoyed your Labor Day, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Ready? Ownership contributes to the Potsy and Tino.
For the Potsy and Tino Show.
Thanks for watching.
Show.